A sad baby orangutan was locked in a small cage for a long time, which stopped it from growing properly. But then, a group of animal rescuers found it and took it to get help. You won't believe how it looks now. When Anissa's father came home one day with an orangutan as a gift for her, she was over the moon. She had always wanted a pet monkey, and now not only did she have one, but it was also an orange one. She and her friends had often seen these orange monkeys in the jungle near her house. They always seemed so happy and carefree, so she hoped her little Booty would be exactly the same. However, they kept Booty in a wire chicken coop. Anissa's dad insisted that Booty should never be taken out of the cage to keep everyone safe. He only let her feed him once a day. She gave him her favorite treat each time, which was sweet condensed milk. She thought it was perfect for the baby monkey, and he seemed to enjoy it too. Anissa couldn't figure out why Booty wasn't getting bigger though. It looked like he would stay small and stuck in the cage forever, considering how slowly he was growing. But then something changed Booty's fate. Someone informed the International Animal Rescue Organization that the family had a pet orangutan. They came into their home and took Booty away without too much of an explanation. They told Anissa's parents that they weren't allowed to keep Booty as a pet because he was an endangered animal. Anissa was very confused, of course, as no one explained the situation to her in words she could understand. The International Animal Rescue was horrified when they first laid eyes on little Booty. The baby orangutan couldn't have been more than a few months old, but its growth had been severely stunted because of the chicken cage he had been kept in. His body showed signs of malnutrition and muscle atrophy. His limbs and body were devoid of muscle mass and were shaped abnormally. He couldn't even sit up when they found him. Not only that, but his coloring was off, and he was very underweight. This poor little orangutan had probably been ripped away from his mother only to be sold on the exotic pet trade. This practice is very harmful to baby orangutans, who are extremely dependent on their mothers, just like us humans. To top it off, Booty had not had any nutritious food in so long. He would still be on his mother's milk at that age, and her milk would have been highly nutrient-dense, nothing like the store-bought sweetened pudding he had been fed for so long. Booty's malnourishment was on top of the list to fix, but it wasn't the trickiest thing they had to accomplish. Orangutans, like humans, are highly social and need to feel safe with their mothers to develop properly. Booty was an orphan at this point, so they needed someone to make him feel safe and secure. That's where his surrogate mother came in. His surrogate was an orangutan mother who had been saved from poachers years prior. She worked at the center as a surrogate mother and older sister to the other rescued orangutans. At first, Booty was not so keen on his surrogate mother. In fact, he tried to stay in small, squished areas of the enclosure, most likely those that imitated the tiny space he had been living in for the last few months. His limbs were disproportionate, making it difficult for him to manage, and his lack of muscle mass made it very difficult to move around. He tried to, but was obviously unsure of what to do. However, the rescue center volunteers were adamant that they would be able to help Booty overcome the challenges he was facing. Firstly, to address his malnourishment, they put him on a high nutrient-based diet so that he could get all the vitamins, minerals, and proteins he needed to grow and get healthier. Then they tried to get him to feel safer in bigger environments with comfort. They started with a bigger box, and then slowly, every couple of days, made the box bigger and bigger, ultimately leaving him with a nicely sized box that he could hide in the enclosure. That way he could hide in it when he got scared without it being so small that it would hinder his growth. They then tried to introduce him again to the surrogate mother. She was super sweet to him right from the start. She began picking and grooming his hair and pulling him close to her for cuddles. Booty was very confused though. He resisted her attention and the need for cuddles as much as he could. It was clear he was unsure of what to think or do. He had clearly not received much, if any, physical contact for the last few months. But after the surrogate managed to get him to her chest, he immediately succumbed to his natural instinct of nuzzling and feeling safer with an elder. Once they managed to get him to bond with a surrogate mother, they could then take the next exciting step. They could start to introduce him to other younger orangutans close to him in age. Unfortunately, Booty's story was not a unique one. The rescue center had rescued many younger orangutans from around the world who had been traded in the exotic pet trade. This was not something they were happy about, but they had to make it work. In situations like this, it was advantageous to have a little group going through the same struggles, especially considering how social orangutans are. When Booty saw the other young monkeys for the first time, he was really interested in how they moved. He stayed partly hidden on his surrogate mother's back, but he watched them closely while they played and jumped around every day. Over time, Booty got braver and braver when he visited the other young orangutans. Just a month after being rescued, he took a step to join their playful activities. The other little orangutans were curious about their new friend, and it didn't take long for them to include him. They started pushing him around and playing together. It was heartwarming to watch, especially considering everything Booty had been through. But this playgroup wasn't just for fun. It had a more important purpose. The rescue center's goal was simple. They wanted to prepare as many animals as possible to return to a safe and natural environment where they could thrive the way they should in the wild. This is where the playgroup came in. These orangutans were all orphaned, leaving them with no parent to teach them about the ways of life. The purpose of the group was like a schooling experience. The little monkeys would all have a session once a day where they were taught how to survive in the wild. A volunteer dressed like a big orangutan would walk around the enclosure, making nests and foraging. The curious little orangutans would follow the volunteers around, soaking in everything they were doing. That way, they were learning just as they would from their mother. The rescue center wanted to make sure that they could perform all the basic but important tasks that an orangutan would need to survive out in the wild. As time passed, Booty became much more confident and bolder in his play. It was clear that he would benefit greatly from being able to go back into the wild. His social skills and health were improving with each day that passed. His future was starting to look so much better. Soon, his months spent in the chicken cage would be but a distant memory of the past. 8 years later, Booty and his friends were starting to get ready to be released back into the wild where they belong. It was a thrilling time for the center because all their hard work was about to come to light. As for Booty's health, people were shocked to see what he looked like. At first, Booty was a tiny, skinny, and unbalanced orangutan. He looked very different from how he looks now. His fur became a bright orange, and his arms and body grew strong. He learned to move around easily by swinging from his long arms. After 8 years, he looked like a healthy orangutan should. This story shows that some people don't know enough when they have exotic pets. The International Animal Rescue was happy they found Booty in time. Otherwise, he would have been in serious trouble. Thanks to their programs, Booty got a second chance he deserved. What do you think about keeping exotic pets? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.